There. Hi. It is Qualita Qualana Namoya. My phone is moving, so you just gotta excuse it. Welcome. I'm happy you all have joined us. You all might see my background, just ignore it. But anyway, I'm happy you all have joined us. Today is June 2nd, the second day of June, half the year. We're half the year. I hope everyone is doing well. So we're going to get right into our 10-minute topic for today.
The 10-minute topic for today is it harder to keep a good mate or find one? And I guess I can go first. For me, I think it's harder to find one. I think that they are already taken. It's kind of like Joe saying, why are all the good girls taken all the time? In my case, why are all the good guys taken all the time? So I think they're already taken, to fit that definition of good. And then my definition of good, because everyone's is different, but for my definition of good, all of them are already taken, and it's hard to find them. They're like a diamond in the rough. Is that it? Rough. Diamond in the rough. They're very hard to find, and very seldom do you come by them. So just kind of got to be in the right place, the right time, or you got to catch them when they're babies. I'm playing, but yeah, I think that they're harder to find. The good ones are harder to find.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with my sister and friend, and Vasa, that it is harder to find a good mate. I probably came across one in my life. Yeah, that ended.
One.
Just one, yeah. And yeah, it would have actually been easy to keep it, but I was young and I didn't want it at the time. So yeah, I definitely think it's harder to find a good mate, because it's definitely easy to be a good mate yourself and keep another good mate. If they are a good character, then if you wish to work it out with them and you both have good moral fibers, you probably can work it out if you're compatible. So definitely finding a good mate is harder than keeping one.
Well, I can say before I had got married, I would say too, I agree with you all. It is harder to find a good mate than it is to keep one, because the pickings are slim. The pickings are very slim out here for some reason. I don't know if that's for the opposite sex. Some people might say no. To me, actually, I could be wrong. I'm not a male. This is just my thought. Men, I think, have more options than women. Because it's
various reasons, yeah.
Yeah. It seems like it's not a lot of men out here. I could be wrong, don't, like people say, don't come for me when I say this, but it seems like it's not a lot of men out here. It's more women out here than men.
A lot of men out here that what?
That, well, I'll take that back. It's more women out here that want a good man. This is just my thought, okay? Just my thought. I think it's more women out here that want a good man, and it's less men out here that want to commit.
And be good mates.
And
lots of men probably want to commit. Lots of men do commit, actually. Lots of men commit, but are they good mates? And lots of women commit, but are they?
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Because I think for every one, what's the statistic? I'm just going to go by what I think. I think for every good man, it's probably 10 women for that one good man. I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking. But I do have a lot of friends, and I do know a lot of people that do actually want to get married. And they're saying that it's not a lot of good men out here. It's a lot of men that play games. I mean, I'm just telling you what I heard.
And a lot of women. I've been told that in the past, but it wasn't true. And what are some reasons you were told that you play games?
Me personally,
Yeah, both of you.
I was told I play mind games.
Okay.
I don't think I was ever told I played games.
Okay.
Was I?
Have you all? Alana, you?
I'm trying to think, have I? But I think that I've been told that I'm committed to a relationship, and then I sometimes start to die down in my activity, I guess. Like I'll be all into it at one point, and then next minute I'm just like, forget it. I don't want to do it anymore. So I guess I sometimes aren't not in there to stay for the long haul, I guess you could say that in that way I kind of play games.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest. I've been told by the men, of course, the men that I dated. Yeah, I've been told that for various reasons. I'm not about to
We're
sit here.
sisters.
I'm not gonna sit here and recall them all, but for various reasons. But what is important. I mean, their opinions are important to the men's, but what is important is, objectively speaking, my girlfriends have told me when I, analyze situations. I'm like, girl, you might not be ready, or you might be playing games. So we actually have to look at ourselves to see if we are of character, or the person that wants to attract a good man or a good woman. So we have to see if we're actually in a space to actually attract a good person if they do come our way. So I think it's a number of reasons and factors why we are saying it's harder to find a good mate, but the first place is to look within ourselves.
That's true.
So
I was watching a video about this guy was saying, if women, if you want to attract a good man, what you have to do, a couple things he said that stuck in my mind. He said you have to soften your tone of voice.
Well, I'm not gonna talk like a baby.
That's what
like this.
You have to soften your tone, because if you are talking so harsh, that pushes a man away. I know he said that. He also said, make sure you put lotion on your elbows and your feet, because a lot of women are walking around with ashy elbows.
That's just hilarious.
Make sure your hair is combed. I know my braids need to be done, but he said, make sure your hair is done.
Well, what are some of the opinions he gave towards the men, for the men?
He was not talking about men. He just talked about the women. And
so the men can walk around without their hair combed. They can walk around roughhousing, talking any type of way. But the women better be able to keep their hair done and their elbows nice and smooth. Men don't even have to put on lotion or anything like that.
And I think that's one of the other factors. There's a lot of relationship advice directed towards women as opposed to, directed towards men, when I believe men are the gatekeepers of marriage, commitment, and all that, because lots of women are going, for the both, going for broker, whatever it's called. I mean, a lot of women are, but not many, and majority are actually initiating like the marriage proposals. Although it's happening, but a lot of women aren't actually initiating the commitment and the marriage proposal. They may force it or try and force it, but men ultimately gatekeep that. So that's one of the problems. A lot of advice being directed towards us women. And we've been doing things since the dawn of time to attract men. So, I mean, you can go back to Eve. Never mind. I don't want to get into that because it's a whole
get into it, boo. People need
to hear it. Well, she was actually created, so she didn't really have to, and she was the only woman there. So she didn't have to do all the seduction and the lotion of her elbows. It was rather easy for her. But that's a separate topic. But, women since the dawn of time have been trying to get the attention of the gaze of the male. So, I mean, what else can we do at this point?
True. I mean, women go through a lot of extremes. Plastic surgery, lots of makeup, weaves, everything like that. Eyelashes, everything to attract a man, and men can just throw on a hat and a beard, and then that's it.
So So Carlitha, we have a surprise for you. I don't know if you read the comments, but he says he's ready. No, but someone says they're ready. They are asking if they can come on to camera with us, a man, and discuss this topic.
Sure.
Yes.
I'm
So
just trying to send out the link.
yeah, we're gonna send the link out to him. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna read what he said first. He said, it's harder to find a good mate, and everyone can't be him. So imagine finding a good mate is difficult. Yeah. And my girl V said, once you find yourself, like really know who you are, if you are ready for love, then finding a mate or keeping one might be easy. And yeah, girl, that's exactly what we were saying. If you are well within yourself, mentally, physically, if you have it all there, if you've gone through whatever steps you need to take to actually prepare yourself to be content with yourself first, and then prepare yourself to be a helpmeet or helpmate to someone else, then you should be in a good space to attract that person. So,
but you know what I noticed too, a lot of women.
That doesn't mean that you will actually attract them, because there's numbers involved, the probability. But what were you saying?
A lot of women and men, they do turn down a good guy because they don't have
the full package with
that they want. Maybe the street smarts. For instance, if a guy is too sweet, too nice, they don't want to be with them. And I've seen women turn down people like that, because women and men, they're like, oh, she was too nice, or, seemed like she would do everything I wanted to do. But to me, those are the type of people that you need to stick around and try and work with them. Just don't push people away, or because he's short, his hair doesn't look right, or his breath stunk one day.
Well, that is a reason to cut somebody off if your breath stinks.
Well, you can help the brother go get a toothbrush.
I mean, the thing is, you don't have to just take any nobody.
That's true.
Even if they do have good qualities, because you still have to be happy with them. Yeah. And if you are single for the rest of your life, so what? That's just what, how your life turned out. And as long as you're content with that, then fine. But if you must, settle down with someone, then you have to think about all those things. Well, is this, can I, I guess, X this off of my list and be fine with it and treat this person right as well. Mm-hmm. So.
That's true. And I think that keeping a good man is a lot easier because a good man sometimes wants to be kept.
Keeping a good man is easier than keeping a woman?
Than finding. Okay. Because sometimes a good man wants to be kept.
Sometimes a good
That's true. And you know what? Another topic I think we're going to talk about next is when you have a breakup, who hurts worse? I heard that on the news somewhere. Something like that. I was like, that's a good topic. So that'll be our next topic. When you break up, who actually takes it the hardest? But
it depends. I think sometimes men, can take it pretty hard. Sometimes women can, where it can lead to violence. So I think it depends.
That's true. I think women show it more. I'm saying women because I'm a woman, so that's why I'm thinking that. I think we as women show it more, and men themselves, they don't show it for some reason.
So you got a problem.
What we talk about? You are.
So technical difficulties. We're trying to get our guest on.
Oh, I think this is our guest.
Here he is. Yeah. Oh. This odd. This. So yeah, our guest is here. He's just logging in right now. Once again, our topic is it easier to find a good mate or keep one? And hi.
Hey, Jerry.
How you doing?
I actually know Jerry. We actually went to the University of Akron together. many years ago.
Yeah,
Many,
like
many years
ages
ago.
ago.
It was ages ago. Goodness. Jaden was like 1. So you could just imagine how many years ago it was.
Thank you for
Wow.
coming on too.
Yes, thank you for coming on and hanging with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. So, you know,
Think this-
our question is it easier to find a good mate or keep one? And you had some interesting commentary in here. You said everyone can't be you. So imagine finding a good mate is difficult. Yeah, and we definitely agree with that. So what do you have
So
to
first,
say?
did you find a good mate, or are you still looking for a mate? Or do you have one?
I have one,
Okay.
but
Not to
finding
put
a
you on
good
the
mate,
spot.
Mel.
Oops, sorry if I did.
Finding a good mate, male or female, is difficult. Everybody seems to be out for themselves at this point. There seems to be a gender war going on.
Yeah.
But from what you were saying about the, having your hair done in the elbow thing, I think that's I don't think I can agree with that part.
Mhm.
And the lower your tone is pretty much saying that we want feminine women.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
so yeah, you don't have to be a Disney princess, but it don't have to be snap when you're talking.
Right.
So you
I
do
heard
agree with
that
the lower your tone
video.
part.
I actually
Okay.
was watching a video, and this guy was saying that, and that's what he said. He said women actually need to lower their tone. Don't be so harsh speaking, and put lotion on. That way you can be more presentable to a man. That's how you can attract a good man. That's what he said. I was like, oh.
I think that goes both ways. We all need a little bit of lotion.
Or a lot.
Right.
Yeah, I
Talk
think
about our hair done, because I know I got to get my braids done again. But he did talk about that.
Yeah, just not. I don't know. That seems to be on the more keeping someone, like, you don't want to let yourself go too much. If you was 140 when you met him, you shouldn't be double that 10 years later.
Yes, I agree.
so. That's
Well,
more
people
so.
say they do that because
Yeah,
they're
maintenance.
comfortable. They got happy,
Right. But I mean, can you complain if your spouse is uninterested at that point, though?
I would say no. I would say you cannot complain because you're not the same as when they met you. What attracted you to them is not there.
Right.
So,
But that's a good question. You brought that up. But if you think about it, some people might say, okay, well, I gained 5 or 10 pounds, but you got a nasty attitude now. So should I leave you for that? So it's like, then you get into tit for tat. Okay, I gained 5 pounds, but you don't pick your clothes up. You picked your clothes up before, now you don't pick them up, or you don't work enough, or you know what I'm saying? You could just go on and on with that, but that's true. I mean, that's something to think about.
Right. Well, I don't think a man is going to trip over 10 pounds. But you're right. You're right. Everybody has to stay consistent.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. How can I put it? Me personally feel like women get more inconsistent than men because our mind state is always like, we might get less consistent when it comes to like the dates and the planning and the trying to sweep you off your feet every now and then, because we're so stuck on, I gotta provide, I gotta, bills due, my wife needs a new ring, car, etc.
Right.
And we kind of lose our sense of what it took to get you, because it wasn't all of that in the first place.
Mm.
So women, I can get
Oh,
that.
go
So
ahead.
women are getting too comfortable, whereas I don't really need to keep up with my hair. I can gain pounds because I had kids or whatever. If they choose to have kids, I've had kids. I don't have the time to keep up with myself anymore. I'm worried about my kids. I'm worried about feeding my husband, and they kind of start to lose themselves. Whereas the
Right.
men are not putting much into the relationship and the romance of the relationship, because they're trying to provide for their household. So I guess
Right.
then you get this gender war or this struggle, and then it's not happiness, and then that's when the divorce and stuff starts to come in place, and the lack of romance. And then one of the biggest issues is cheating, because now it's like, well, and I guess that goes online with keeping them. So I guess sometimes it could be hard to keep them versus finding one. So both of them are hard, but so to keep them, you still got to do the same exact thing you did to get them. Otherwise, and I've heard before, women start to emotionally disconnect from the relationship first. So that woman starts to feel her emotional needs, and the man is like, I'm not really worried about that. I'm trying to focus on just providing. Whereas the woman is like, I need that romance. So I can definitely get where you're coming from with that.
Well, for example, excuse me, Kanye West, he's a billionaire, and his wife left him for that comedian guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And he's talking about the numbers and what he did with Gap and Adidas, and she's talking about having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And he cannot grasp why she's not connected to him anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And you would think all that money, you should be happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I guess that is the struggle with relationships, staying in them. You know what I mean? It's definitely a struggle. Relationships are hard work. They are hard work, because it's just as well as it is to find one, you have to keep it when you get in it. And a lot of people lose sight of that.
Yeah, so the general consensus among us is that it's harder to find one, but it's very hard to actually keep it, because at the core of the tension is the value that the man and the woman see that they bring, where a man feels that he provides security and stability, and as the relationship grows, he'll be pouring more of that into the relationship. Whereas a woman may be pouring more of herself, love and affection and all that into a relationship, while the man is pouring in a different way. So we then fight and have these gender wars, like you were saying, because of the way we interpret two different ways of providing for the relationship. So, I mean, I've never actually spoke it out that way and thought about it that way. And I already knew there was a gender war, but never actually conceptualized it that way, I guess.
So then how can we put those gender wars into finding a good mate, I guess? So for the women, I guess women are just more focused on the outer appearance, how they look to a man to attract that man, right? Because we got to look a certain way to attract that man.
Right.
So then finding that man based off of how a man thinks to provide for the woman. I guess men just want women to be feminine and submissive.
Inspirational, beautiful, all of those things.
So if you were looking for somebody, or just let's not put you on the spot, but for other men that you said put you on the spot?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, I don't want to. So if you were looking for somebody, what would you be looking for?
So
what quality would this person have to have?
Well, looks would ultimately attract the person first. And then that first conversation is usually that's next. That first conversation, you would tell if somebody's feminine enough, or the level of femininity that you want. If those two things aren't there, even if I get past number one and go to number two, if number two's not there, there's no number three or nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
I would want a woman that, you know, wants to love her man and not make that as a job, you know. And women in submissiveness, they try to conceptualize submissiveness as slavery.
Mm.
You know, they probably, I don't know this for a fact, but you know, I think women think of being submissive as like, hey, you come home, I got to do everything. You know, I'm your footrest when you eating the meal that I slaved 15 hours for. You know, that's what I feel like they think. And it's not like that at all. It's just merely cooperation.
So would you tell your mate or date or whatever you would like her to be submissive, or your person you want to be with, you would like them to be submissive?
Yeah.
Would you?
But as a man, you have to take control of that also. You know,
So what's your
don't
definition of submissive?
really just being cooperative, not having, you know, letting a man lead. What, you know, if you recognize that you have a good man and you're giving your body and soul and mind to him, why are you fighting this person? You know, you got with him to play this role, but you're fighting it. Why don't you just leave that person in?
Yeah, and at the heart of that, I think that the problem is that the women who do fight it, maybe their man isn't the leader that woman needs. And subjectively speaking, in order for me to submit to you know, a man in that way, he would have to show himself worthy of, you know, being submitted to. He have to prove himself to be a leader. He would have to have those qualities. I would have, even though I work, I make the money that I make and everything, I would have to know that he can provide that. He can provide that stability. He can provide a place for me to worship with him, worship spiritually. I would have to be able to trust him with my heart and my soul. I would have to know he's not like flaky or crazy. He's mentally capable, he's physically capable, and spiritually capable to lead and do the things that I would do on my own. So I think the problem is that women do kind of get with men and, you know, just to be happy having a partner, but they don't have the leader or all the other qualities that they want. And that's where the problem is, when men are saying women aren't submitting now. So, I mean, I'm putting it back on the men and saying, well, you have to be the leaders.
Well, and then on top of that, so all of those things that you just named as qualities, what does that man get in return?
I guess he's like,
you want me
maybe submission. Maybe
That's
submission.
it?
I think that maybe we should use a different word. That word submission has so many negative connotations behind it. Maybe team player.
Whoa, time out.
Something like that.
See, I don't
Why
like
would you want to? Why are you scared of it?
Why are you scared of that word? For me, it just triggers so many things. So for me, I like to hear team player, because sometimes submission comes with different thought patterns for different people. So I think for me, I like to hear maybe team player, something like that. You know what I mean? A different word. I think the word all in itself for me does something to me.
So I was right. I was right about the slavery thing.
What'd you say?
He's right about the slavery.
About the slavery statement, right?
You know, and I think it's more or less not necessarily slavery, but more or less like dominating, controlling. Those words come to mind when I hear of submission, because like I said, it just triggered something for me personally. So I think that maybe just having a different word to it especially
he did say cooperative.
It depends. It depends. Because are you like, you know, go cook my food and be cooperative about it? Like something like that. So it just depends, I think, all on the person and all on the relationship that I have built with the man that I choose to partner with. So
I know Jerry, like, wait till you finish talking because I got I see that on his face.
go ahead, Jared, if you have a follow-up.
Well, I would rather use the word cooperation if submissive triggers you. But just breaking down the word cooperation, you know, looking at operation, that's a task at hand, and co means partnership. So you're partnering to complete the task at hand.
Okay, I can use that. I can get with that. Like, can you cooperate with me? That's fine. Can you submit to me? That's a little bit different when I'm hearing it that way. But when I'm hearing it broken down like that, I can get with cooperation versus submissive.
Right. And don't tell me, girl, go in there and cook my food now, because you're gonna get some attitude.
Whoa, I mean, that's the far left version of submissiveness. That's the narcissistic, you know, you chose the wrong guy submissive.
Right.
So
You know,
some relationships, I'm not gonna say men or women, because I don't want people like, no, she didn't say men, or no, she did. Some people actually turn it up like that and have that type of attitude.
Yeah.
well, sometimes it's like it should be first nature, you know, for a woman. Like if I made you a housewife or you're working part-time, why let me turn my phone to vibrate, but why not make sure I'm fed when I come home, at least most of the time?
No.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. If you are providing for the household and the woman is able to take some time off, work part-time, have that time to cook after you've worked a long day, then of course I think that most women will, you know, naturally give in and play that role.
But what if she works part-time and you work full-time?
That's
Are you
what
gonna
we're
switch
saying.
up?
Switch up
Like,
what?
like the household chores. Are you gonna cook, you know, 3 days a week and I cook 2 days a week and we go out to eat on the 4th day or whatever?
Oh, you asking for the flip side. What if I was part-time? Oh,
right.
Well, you know, you would have to play those roles. Even hey, you got to play whatever role fits your relationship.
Yeah.
But don't work part-time as a man and be like, hey, you got to come home and cook. Or I'm not picking those kids up. You better arrange something. You know,
because I worked already today, right?
Yeah, that's just all around bad partner.
But I feel like work is the reason why women are scared of the submission. Because if you think about it, women already submit to their boss for a bag. So why would I come home and submit to a man that's not even paying me?
See, that was one that we had discussed. I think we got to have another talk on that one, because that one is going to be deep. Because it was, if you submit to your boss, then how come it's not easy for you to submit to your man? So that's a whole nother subject that we can get into, and that's going to be even deeper. Let me get into these comments. Vanessa said, once you find yourself, like, really know who you are, if you are ready for love, then finding a mate or keeping one might be easy. Men might internalize pain. Women show it. Create a picture that you both can grow together. Love and respect. Keith said, we need to ask ourselves what the value of a relationship means to each of us. What was each person's upbringing regarding relationships? It's easy to find, hard to keep. My parents were together 56 years. That's my upbringing. That my reality was quite different. 56 years, that's a blessing.
Mhm.
You
Absolutely.
don't hear that many years nowadays. You know what I mean? You really don't.
Right.
Good
Yeah.
if you can make it to 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you asked, what does a man get in return if he is all those things? I think that is a topic for another day, because that's a great topic. And it also goes in line with what you are saying about
Submission,
the boss and,
yeah.
and
I
submission.
think we're
So-
gonna have to have you back on, Jerry. If you
Yeah,
don't
if you
mind.
would like to come back. Yeah.
We will let you know, send you out a link so you can come back, because this was fun. I appreciate you stopping by. You got the women's version of it, and then you got the men's version of it.
And and another thing too, when we're thinking about the direct question of the day, whether it's easier to find a good mate or keep a good mate, like Keith is saying, his parents are together, have been together for 56 years. So at a time it was, you just kind of dated the people around you, because technology wasn't as advanced as it is now. And that just brings up the topic of whether you meet someone and you all can work together to make each other good mates. So in that regard, it could actually be easier to find a good mate and find a person and then make that person a good mate. Have you ever thought about doing that?
It depends on
the foundation
the qualities
of
that person has first.
Yeah.
Are they some qualities that a man should have? Are they qualities that a woman should already possess? Owen said, what was the main answer? So I think that the main answer, all of us can agree that it's harder to find a good mate than it is to keep one.
And now I'm thinking it may be harder to find a good mate, because you can't just pick up and find a good mate. That person has to be a good mate for you.
You got to build a bear.
You got to build it. So you might, if somebody might be right up under your nose that might be a good mate for you in the future. And you're like, well, he did this on that first date. He is not going to be a good mate. Red flag.
Right.
But
Yeah, I used to get that.
Yeah. It might actually be a red flag.
I used to get that a lot, when I was I ain't gonna say a lesser man, but when I wasn't realizing my potential. So, people, hey, I don't know about him, he might not be for me, and things like that. And then I grew my beard out and started making money.
Well, there you go.
Now you got all these women.
Like, ooh, that's a good man right there. He's gonna be a good man. Yeah.
Well, good thing you can grow a full beard.
Absolutely, it's a blessing.
Yes. Yeah.
So you saying the beard helps you attract the women, or attracted the women to you, or?
I feel like the upkeep is more attractive than actually having it. Keeping it moisturized and making sure I ain't got food and lint in my stuff, and it's smelling good and things like that. I feel like those aspects help me attract women.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jerry, it's thick. So
Ain't it?
The thicker the beard, I gotta come up with something else.
The sicker the women. I don't know.
I gotta come up with something for
the women.
They gotta rhyme. What rhyme with beard? I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta come up with something like that. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Jerry. This was fun. Thank you for everyone who's tuned in and who's watched and who's commented. As always, if you missed us live and you want to go back and you want to watch the replay, leave some comments in there. Let us know what you think. Is it easier to find a mate, or is it easier to keep the mate? Let us know what you think and give us some pointers, or give someone some pointers. As always, remember to build bold, build better, build brilliant, build a brother up, build a sister up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
All right, you're welcome.
We'll see you next time. Bye.